All right, let's talk about anxiety, but we're going to look at it through a completely new lens. We're going to challenge that whole idea that it's some kind of disorder or malfunction. Instead, we'll explore a different perspective, one that's all about how our brains are actually perfectly wired for survival.
I mean, this probably sounds pretty familiar, right? For years, the story has been that anxiety is a malfunction, a disorder, something that's just inherently wrong with you, something that needs to be fixed or, medicated away. And that's a message that can really make you feel, well, broken.
But hang on, let's just pause for a second and ask a really important question. What if, what if that feeling, that anxiety, isn't a sign that you're broken at all? What if it's actually a sign that your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, and doing it perfectly? You see, just that one little shift in how you think about it, it changes everything.
Okay, so to really get this new perspective, we first have to kind of take apart the old one. We need to deconstruct this big misconception that anxiety is just a symptom you have to manage.
Just think about it for a second. What are we always sold? It's all these solutions that promise to just make the feeling disappear, right? Pills, those meditation apps for $10 a month, the fancy breathing exercises. Look, they all focus on managing the symptoms on the surface, but they almost never get to the real root cause of why the alarm is going off in the first place. And this is the crucial part. The problem probably isn't you. It's not some personal failing. It's really just a knowledge gap. It's like someone handed you this incredibly powerful piece of tech, your own mind, but they completely forgot to give you the instruction manual. You were never told how it actually works. And here's the kicker. That instruction manual, it's not new. It's ancient. So to really understand what's going on, we have to look at how our very old, very primitive brain is trying and sometimes struggling to deal with our super modern world. Just think about this number, 200,000 years. That is how long our brain's survival programming has been getting tweaked and fine-tuned. This isn't some new app you can just update. This is ancient, deeply ingrained hardware. And it was built for a world that, frankly, doesn't even exist anymore. So, this brings us to a whole new way of defining it. Anxiety isn't a bug in your system, it's a feature. Yeah, a feature. It's this powerful evolutionary survival tool that was designed for one single purpose, to spot threats out there and keep you alive. And right here, this is where the mismatch happens. Our ancient threat detector, it was built to handle things like tigers, rival tribes, famine, real life or death stuff. But today, that exact same system is getting triggered by what? An overflowing inbox, a passive-aggressive email, a looming work deadline. And this is the most critical takeaway of all. To your nervous system, a threat is a threat. Period. It literally does not know the difference. The same biological alarm that would go off to save you from a bear is now ringing because of your boss. And that physical feeling you get, it's identical. This explains so much, right? It's why so many of those common techniques just don't work in the heat of the moment. I mean, have you ever tried to think your way out of a panic attack? It feels impossible, because it pretty much is. Trying to use calm thoughts to shut down a full-blown physical panic response, that's like trying to calm down a screaming fire alarm by politely asking it to just breathe. The system just wasn't built to listen to reason when it's in full-on panic mode. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's look at the actual wiring of that alarm system. What is really happening inside your brain when that siren starts wailing? It's actually a pretty simple and super fast process. So first, your amygdala. Picture it as your brain's internal security guard. Always on alert, it spots what it thinks is a threat. Second, it slams the big red alarm button, which floods your body with stress hormones. And third, and this is the most important part, it basically pulls the plug on your prefrontal cortex. The rational, logical CEO part of your brain. Just let that sink in for a minute. When you're feeling that intense anxiety, the part of your brain that handles logic, reason, and planning is literally offline. It's not broken, it's a survival feature. It's designed to make you act immediately, not sit around and think about your options. And that is why you can't just calm down. Your calming down hardware has been temporarily shut off. And once you get that, you see there are two completely different ways to handle this. The typical way is what we call top-down. It tries to use your thoughts to control your feelings. But how can that possibly work when your thinking brain is offline? So the alternative is a bottom-up approach. And this one doesn't start with your thoughts. It starts with your body, right where the alarm first went off.
So, what does this whole bottom-up thing actually look like, in the real world? How do we start working with our nervous system instead of constantly trying to fight against it? Well, the logic is actually really simple when you think about it. If that anxiety alarm bell is a physical thing, if it starts in your body and your nervous system as a physical reaction, then it just makes sense that the solution has to start there too. You've got to deal with the physical alarm before you can do anything else. So this new path forward, it's really built on a few key ideas. First, you have to understand what's actually happening inside you, all the stuff we've just been talking about. Second, you use tools that are designed to work with your nervous system, not against it. And finally, you handle the body's alarm state first, because once you do that, it allows your rational brain to finally come back online, and then you can start dealing with all the thoughts. Which really brings us to one last big question to chew on. After everything we've seen about how our ancient brain works and how it triggers this very real, very physical alarm, well, if the fire of anxiety starts in the body, doesn't it just make perfect sense that the solution should start there too?